ended up in the mountains, huddled at the side of a high wall. And I found out that the high wall, the reason that the high wall was there was about 10 yards further than the high wall was cliff. And I became aware that we were stuck. We were stuck in this vile weather for the night. So being as the rain was so... I'm actually climbing up a very steep hill now. Being as the rain was coming at such a velocity that it was actually firing through the holes in the wall, I took all of that, I ripped our baggage apart, wrapped Isaac up in the tarpaulin, ripped his wet clothes off him, stuck his dry clothes on him, stuck him in the sleeping bag, stuck him in the bivvy bag, whole caboodle, into the tarpaulin like a tarpaulin sandwich. Then I packed all of our wet gear and wet baggage between the wall and the tarpaulin sandwich in order to protect us from where the rain was shooting through the holes in the wall, to give us a bit more insulation from the weather. Ripped out all of my dry clothing, stripped all of my wet clothing off, got into my sleeping bag inside the bivvy bag, and got inside the tarpaulin sandwich beside Isaac. And in these conditions is where we spent the night. Now I can tell you, once we got in those sleeping bags and those bivvy bags with our dry clothes on, we were warm, and putting those warm clothes on was absolutely wonderful. But we were in danger, and we hunkered down in our tarpaulin sandwich until the next day, and it was a long and uncomfortable night. But we were warm and we were dry, and Isaac was quite frightened. And sometimes I had my doubts of what was going to happen, but we went on an adventure and we had a real life survival situation, and the kits that we took with us did its job. The next day we remained in there till about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I realised that this weather wasn't going anywhere, this was going to remain. So we strapped on a load of our wet stuff, stuck our feet back in our soaking wet boots, strapped on a load of wet stuff on the outside of our dry stuff, rammed everything, all of our belongings were all over the place in a big bundle around our tarpaulin sandwich. I just rammed everything back in the bags, strapped our bags on, by which time my 50-pound rucksack had turned into a 60-pound rucksack, and Isaac's 30-pound was probably weighing in, well, I took as much off him, he still remained about 30 pound. So looking over the wall, the way back we had to get back down the mountain, it was a sheer blizzard of rain and wind. First of all, I went to go over the wall and I thought, no way, there is no way we can go over there. Going over there is absolutely ridiculous. It's got to be certain disaster. To climb down with that sheeting rain in your face, down the slippy rocks and through the bogs that we've had to come up, would be impossible. But I also realised at the same time that there is no way that we would be able to stay there another night there. We would not be able to stay another night there. Another day and another night there would probably spell out our demise or something like that. But there's no way that there's no phone signal, there was nothing, there was no way helicopters could get up there, there was no rescue in sight. So we gritted our teeth and we went over the wall into the blasting weather, back down through the rocks, and the bogs, and 7-mile hike back. And by the time we got back, we were well exhausted, and we spent the last couple of days recuperating, cleaning out the stuff, drying everything off, revamping the kit. Now what I'm doing now is I've come back down the coast road and I've come back inland to the forest. I'm driving up to the forest that we were aiming to hike to. I found a path on the map that I believe will lead from the forest back up to the place in the wall where we spent Monday night. So Isaac decided to stay at home with Mum because he's enjoying his comforts at the moment. He's had an experience, and he's well pleased that he came through it. Well, we're both well pleased that we came through it, and we went out to have a time, and we had a time, and we were put in a real life survival situation. Even though we was only out one night, we had 2 extremely hard hikes, and in the middle an extremely challenging night, dangerous night, and we survived. So what I'm doing now anyway is I'm driving up to the forest that I was aiming at from the coast, and I'm going to park up the van and I'm going to hike up into the mountains to find the way through from this side. And I've learnt a lot, and the kit that we took did the job by the grace of God, and we got back. And anyway, I'm driving up there now to the forest, as I said, and I'm going to find, because I left my coat up there. I didn't leave my coat, I strapped it to the bag, and it must have blown off, but it's got a few things in the pockets that I want, like my glasses, my reading glasses, that unfortunately I have to have now, and Isaac's hat and 2 hats of mine, and there's a few other bits and bobs. Now I've got a spoon in the pocket, and this spoon belonged to my family when I was a young boy, and the cutlery set has long since disappeared, but I took this spoon from the cutlery set, and it's been on all of my travels with me all of my life. So I want to get back up there and rescue my spoon if I can find it. Otherwise I'll just have to buy a new spoon. But when I've mentioned to the family, because the kids say, "Dad, can I use your spoon?" and they always want to use my spoon because it's a really fantastic shape, and it's got wooden handles on it, and the handle doesn't get hot, and it's always done the job very well. So when I told the family that I'd left my coat up there and my glasses up there and all that, I'd probably left them, but when I told them I'd left the spoon up there, there was absolute cries of despair from the whole family. So I've got to go up there and try and rescue my spoon. I've also got to find that route through. So I've completed the 2 ends of the journey, so I do know now the path from the area where we camp through to the woods and the lake. I did take a lot of footage, a lot of film footage. I used up a whole disc on the hike up and getting stuff ready, and our survival method, till in the end I had to down tools and say I can't continue this any further, and just chucked it in the bag with everything else. But the disc has not survived the evening, it's not survived the night, it's not survived the adventure. So there's no footage, unfortunately, which would have been some pretty amazing footage, but it's gone. So anyway, I'm driving now up there, and I'm gonna go and spend probably tonight up at the woods, and either today or tomorrow hack my way up through the mountains to where we were on our survival night. Pack the sack over and out. I haven't got any of my little partners with me to open the gates, so I've got to keep jumping in and out the van, which is quite unusual for me. I don't usually get out by myself very often. Tell you, by the time we got back Tuesday, we were tired, we were exhausted, and Wednesday we could hardly walk. We were stiff yesterday. Today the stiffness has worn off. We've had a couple of really lovely comfortable sleeps, but we were glad to get back. I've got to watch what I'm doing here a bit, using the camera and driving up here. So I think I'm going to turn off for a minute. Let's stall the engine. I'll stop and get you a bit of footage every now and again to give you a rough idea of what it's like.